Here's what you're getting wrong about melatonin in your kid's sleep. What is melatonin? It's the hormone we all make in our brains that puts us into our circadian clock. That's part of the light-dark cycle that tells us when it's time to sleep. Here's how melatonin is supposed to work in a normal situation. The main trigger for onset of melatonin production is sunset and darkness, which stimulates this part of our brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which then communicates with our pineal gland in the middle of our brain for serotonin to be converted to melatonin, and you get a melatonin rise in your brain that tells you it's time to go to sleep. In young kids who are about 2 to 5, that happens between 6 and 7 at night, and older kids and teens that shifted a little later to start at around 8 or 9 p.m. Here's what sets our clock. Our eyes experience natural sunlight during the day that sets our clock for the day. Daytime sunlight activity and then certain nutrients in our diet are key for the functioning of this clock, for which melatonin is the main functional piece that makes it go. Main roadblocks to this clock working optimally: too much light, especially during the time that we're supposed to experience the natural rise in our melatonin in the evening; lack of routine and structure, so things not happening in the same order at the same time every day; and then not understanding the impact of diet and nutrients, especially iron, activity, and daytime sunlight on making that clock optimal and working at its best. Remember, there are certain conditions that can significantly alter the normal functioning of this clock. Primarily one, kids with autism. Kids on the spectrum clearly underproduce melatonin and have significant impairments in their circadian clock, which negatively impacts sleep. Anyone who's a parent of a kid with autism already knows this. This is how melatonin is used often in that population. And 2, kids with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder have a much later shift in their clock, seems to be genetic, and they start their process of production of melatonin much later, and that's why so many of those kids have trouble falling asleep as well. When it comes to melatonin supplementation, here are the biggest mistakes that I see people make. One is dosing, using way too much, way too late. If you're going to use it, you want to start at a very low dose and time it to correlate with the normal rise in the melatonin, which is 2 to 3 hours before bedtime, starting at a 0.5 to 1 milligram dose. 2, product choice. They're often mislabeled. Oftentimes, if you're not careful about what you're buying, you're not giving what you think you're giving. And 3 is, if you choose to use it, not addressing the other key issues, especially daytime sunlight and exercise, the importance of diet, especially iron, and routine. So put more questions about melatonin in the comments section.